Well, this is a piece of poplar that I've turned into a model of an interior door. This is the interior jamb set, and it's dadoed into the sides a lot like the window frame that we did earlier. This piece on the bottom wouldn't be on a real door, but I put it on here to hold this frame rigid. On the real door, I'll replace this with a spreader that'll hold the jamb sides apart. This is the inside stop, and the distance from here to here is the same thickness as the thickness of the door. But on this side, this stop is set back an additional 1/16 of an inch, greater than the thickness of the door. And that's to prevent this edge from binding when the door is closed. But as you see, this door won't close, and it's for a different reason. This edge is square and it needs to be beveled. Doors swing on an arc, and the center of the arc is the center of the hinge pin. I'll use my divider to demonstrate. I'll put one leg of the divider right on the center of the hinge pin and the other leg on the edge of the door, and when I swing it, you can see that part of the arc. That's how you find the amount of bevel, but usually 3 to 5 degrees would be enough.
Well, here's the required bevel, and I'll scribe a line all the way down the edge. I like to use old hand planes. This one's nice and sharp, and when I start, I'll only be making a narrow cut on the one side, and it'll get wider as I go along. I use my hand against the edge to guide it with, and you see I lift the plane on the return stroke, only putting pressure on the forward stroke. Otherwise, you'll dull the iron.
Okay, that looks good. And the margins look good. The margins should be equal all the way around. In the old days, they used to call it nickel and dime. That means that they used a dime for a thickness gauge on the hinge side and a nickel on the latch side. And I use a nickel across the top. Now this door is a little bit greater than that, and that's because it's winter and the door is contracted. In the summertime, it'll be tight. So if you fit your doors in the winter, make this a loose nickel. In the summer, make it tight. Sometimes these margins can be closed by paint buildup. And if you have to reduce the size of the door, take it off of the hinge side and then reset the hinges. You can see that the mortise for this hinge leaves the surface flush with the edge of the door. And I've left about 3/16 of an inch here. And that lets the barrel of the hinge project out beyond the face of the jamb so that the trim will fit. Well, here's something else about hinges. Hinges are bent, and that's called swaging, so that when the leaves are closed, they'll be parallel. Here's the diamond here again, and that's a parallel joint. But they're not always like that. You need to check your hinges to check the swage, because you might have to make this mortise a little deep or a little shallow to control the margin on the side. Well, there's another way to change this margin, and that's called throwing the hinge. You can shim behind the hinge leaf, and that will move the door either this way or that way. But I'll tell you a lot more about throwing the hinge on the next doors that I'll hang. Whenever I can, I like to use my old hand tools that I was taught with. This is a joiner plane, my hand saws, which are sometimes faster than a skill saw, a jack plane, some specialty markers, and specialty planes. But the next door is going to be done in production basis, and so I use the electric ones: a router, electric plane, skill saw, and drill. And now I'll get right to it.